Hey, it's Heather here. I just get on here and vlog and talk about things, kind of a little bit of my thoughts and a little bit more like philosophies, I guess you'd say, or I don't know how to word it correctly. But anyways, I'm not a genius. But anyways, I just get on here and vlog and kind of talk about things. And I'm actually reshooting today's video because I shot one earlier, and even though I didn't say anything in it that I regret, for as far as I'm just like, oh my god, that's so horrible, or anything like that, I just feel it's kind of a little slightly distasteful, which, I mean, in all honesty, I'm from Georgia, and like, I'm as country bumpkin as they fucking come to a degree, and so tact is not a huge thing in the South necessarily. Obviously, just from the way that I do my videos and the way that I've talked in previous videos and the hole that's in my shirt. And that's another thing, too. Like, yeah. I started to watch it back and I was like, oh, you can see a little bit of my boob there because it's just a hole, and then there's my bra, and my bra is gray. And I was like, maybe not. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, I'll think about it, and we'll see if I make it through this video with it staying down, the hole where it's at. But that's one thing about me is like humility and stuff is like very big on one of my values and who I am, and I even put that up as like one of my Facebook things. I was like, what's your values, to my few friends that I do have on there. And my friend Jen, she wrote more than one, which I don't mind whatsoever, and I was like, good on you for, thank you for answering my question, it's very appreciative, and stuff like that. And then I just wrote my one because I'm weird about the way that I do things. I give little pieces of information out. It takes time to get to know me, and then I'm still getting to know myself in full. And so there's things that I don't know about myself, and you can ask me and I'll be like, I don't know. And some people, because in society you're expected to know certain things, and sometimes you don't know them, and sometimes it's not okay that you don't know them, and so it's like, no, you need to know, and have a decision, and you need to express that decision now and stand by it and stand firm, and and everything. And so you can get picked apart on any belief, and that's another thing too. Like, if somebody goes, oh, you value humility, okay, I'm going to make fun of you, and there's a way and a certain amount of tact and taste involved and everything. And that's even like my apartment, for instance. My landlord practically thinks that the way that I have my apartment done up and decorated is tacky. She's basically said it. And then because if you have pets, and I don't want to mention my landlord any more than this little segment right here or whatever, because that's kind of what I was talking about in my other video, and I just kept going on and on for a few minutes, and I was like, yeah, pull it back some. And then I was like, oh, my boob's showing. And then I was like, and there's some things that I'm going to restate, and I might set it to public, I don't know, but I got it to private right now. But anyways, I painted my windows because I have dogs and they break blinds. Simply put, they break them all the friggin' time. And I don't have money for the tent or whatever that you can buy, like, for your house, like, to put on the inside. And even at that stuff's white, or it's a, not smoky, but transparent, or whatever, like white or whatever, that's kind of frosted looking. There we go. And so anyways, I'm poor or whatever, and I put this white paint that comes off of glass and stuff on windows. And one of my neighbors, when we were talking and we were kind of, for the most part, getting along and stuff, she was like, what did she call it? Gallery glass. And she's like, oh, you can make all kinds of designs and hang out there and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but how much does it cost? And she's like, oh, not that much. And I was just like, well, this was way cheaper, in the way that I did it and everything. And that's the thing, too. Like, if I can find something for cheaper, that's who I am. I'm all about bargains, but to a degree. As long as it doesn't devalue or whatever, but as long as it's sufficient, gets the purpose, gets everything taken care of. When you're poor, you learn to do without or make do with what you got. And so um, my landlord basically said it was tacky and said that somebody told her supposedly that, it looked like that of a crazy person or something along that lines or whatever. And also, just that, it was very distasteful in her eyes and stuff. And then I even have a message from her telling me to move my trash can back because it didn't look good where it was at. And so that's the thing, like, with her. But I get that has always been an issue with her, is like, apparently I'm a very tacky person in her mind, in her eyes. And Lord God, trying to find a place to live, and rent, and the person not think that you're tacky and not think that that is a issue, or they just let that go and they're like, hey, as long as they're paying their money, I don't care what they do as long as they're not, and that's the thing too, is like, I'm not painting the walls, and I've hung the pictures in the ways that she told me to with the picture hangers. The only things that I did not hang with picture hangers was my curtain rod, because it kept friggin' falling. And it's just a little cheap curtain rod, so whenever I leave, it's going to leave the rod here, or I'm at least going to leave the mounts, or whatever they're called, hanging. And I hung a shower rod, or, shower rod for the shower curtain. And I'm going to leave it here because I put it in with screws. And then I hung a vanity in the bathroom, like a little vanity mirror, medicine cabinet, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to leave it whenever I leave here, because I put holes in the walls to hang it with screws. Everything else, though, has been hung else. Now, there was a few nails that was already here, or screws. That's just like where I got my cross hanging right now. Somebody hung something, I don't know when, in the brick, and there's these two holes, and so I just put these screws in them that fit the holes, and I set my cross up there, But anyways, sorry for kind of getting all wrapped up in myself, and that's one thing too about my videos that you'll probably notice, is I'm very into myself to a degree, and I come across as very arrogant, very shallow and cocky in that way, and a lot of people can't handle that about me and don't like that about me, and that's okay. And if you can't, then please don't watch my videos, because I try to talk about things that are meaningful and about life and stuff like that, but it usually takes me a while to kind of settle into, from the beginning of my videos, like settle into that and everything. But the reason I do that is because, like, I'm really trying to get on a level with people. And like I said, humility is one of my things. So it's like, hey, I'm broken too, or I'm fucked up, or this is what's wrong with me, and this is my life, and it's shitty and everything. And that's another thing too, talking about some shitty stuff. My left side, like, of my body is just, like, it's ridiculous. It's like, I think I had a stroke 2 years ago, a mini stroke, because just the way everything went. And then 4 years, or 3.5 years ago, or, well, we'd been here about 2 months, so almost 3.5 years ago, I fell and I busted my ankle, and I tried to go to the doctor for it, but it never came into happening. And so I've walked around on it, and it used to hurt me so bad. I thought I was going to die, and I thought I was going to have to call out the paramedics to come and get me, but I never did. So call it my stupidity or whatever, but I mean, that's just like my dad. He had a heart attack back in May, and he didn't even go to the doctor, I think they said, until the next day. Like, because, I mean, you know, that's the way that we were raised in my family, and that's the way healthcare and our financial status and all kinds of shit like that's been. It's like, oh, just brush it off, you know, and keep going. And I used to, when I was younger, be like, I'm never going to do that. I'm going to grow up. I'm going to make sure I go to the doctor every time I need to go to the doctor, you know. And so I get, like, because my friend Jen, bless her heart, you know, or whatever, well, not bless her heart, it's not a bad value, but she's like, she's like, I highly value, you know, medical help and stuff like that, and taking care of yourself, you know, health wise and stuff like that. And I wish I could, is the best way I can think of to word it. Because, I mean, when I was younger, I was like, I'm never going to be like they are. I'm going to go to the doctor every time I need to go to the doctor. But then not having a car, not having a license, and them being the ones that I had to go to go to the doctor, you know, and they're like, oh, you're fine, you're okay, you're fine, you're okay. And so you learn to just, you know, chalk it up to nothing. But anyway, so busted my ankle, and then, and this is the thing that's really kind of killing me right now. Well, for starters, and it's because it's cold weather, and my health, and like my mom has rheumatoid arthritis and shit like that, but because my ankle's fucked up, I don't know if also when I fell on my ankle, if I also may have slightly fractured my femur bone, or if it's just where my femur bone is like becoming warped because of walking on an ankle that's fucked up. And then on top of that, my hip, it's hurt me sometimes, but sometimes it's not. And for the majority, it has not. But for these last few months, 6 or 8 months, there's days that I literally just want to lay in the bed and cry, because from my hip and my femur bone, like right in the middle, and my ankles, it's just killing me. And my hip, it cracks sometimes, like when I walk or whatever, or grinds is the best way to word it. And I can hear it. It's audible noise, you know. And I'm just like, thank you, Mom, for not caring to take me to the doctor for that. But then that's just like my wrist. For starters, I done broke this, or not broke, but fractured this arm when I was a kid. And like I said, my family is one of those, oh, you're okay, oh, you're okay, oh, you're okay, oh, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And so fractured my arm, went and got a cast put on it, then had the brace that I had to wear, and then afterwards they're like, does your arm hurt anymore, you know, and all that, and I'm like, no, yeah, no, you know, I don't know how to answer that, because I was taught to lie, you know, about physical pain from a very young age. You know, I was taught, no, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm good, you know, and that fucks you up, it really does. And so that's the reason I've always been big on my daughter, my one kid that I do have, you know, are you in any pain? And then literally kind of screaming at my parents and being like, you know, we've got to take her back. And she's even got a problem with one of her arms. And then we've took her so many times, and about 3-4 years ago, they were like, oh, well, all we can recommend, because it's not showing anything on the x-rays or this and that, so it don't look like nothing was broke, and it don't look like this, other than her tendons are overextended and this and that, and she's always going to have this pain, but eventually she's going to grow, her arm's going to grow, and so the tendons, even though they're stretched out, you know, and all this shit and everything. But anyways, they're like, oh, well, we could do a spinal tap to see if she has one of 3 cartilage diseases. And in all honesty, just based upon them even bringing that up, you know, I'm like, I bet you if we don't have it, we're close to having it or something in our bloodline, because that would explain so much shit. That would explain why when I got my ears pierced when I was a kid, the cartilage just, and it's like broken pieces. And it literally like made my whole face on one side turn red. And I've always had thick earlobes. Like everybody, like my grandmother and my sister kind of teased me, especially my grandmother. She's like, oh, you got thick earlobes, you know. And so anyways, like I don't know. But, back to me and my fucking left arm and shit. When I was at a job, I got my wrist squeezed, like the fucking cooler door just slammed shut on it. I don't know if somebody did it on purpose because they were mad at me, because I know a person that was mad at me and I know they were around that area. I don't know if they did that or if it's just, just because that's the thing too, is like logically my mind's like that door shouldn't have shut that quickly. Like somebody shut it on me, in my opinion. But my wrist still bothers me to this day for as far as that, and my arm used to bother me, and it still does if it's really, really, really cold. Like if it's fixing to be really cold, or we're fixing to get snow or something, like I can feel it. Like it just feels like it's all fucked up right here, and not bad, but just a twinge of pain, and sometimes I gotta rub it and stuff, But my wrist, because it's cold weather. Oh my God. And it's even like anybody that, you can tell it's swollen. But, anyways, I know everybody's got pains and shit that they gotta live with, supposedly. Supposedly. Now, sometimes I really do wonder. Because, like I said, my friend Jen, she's like, oh, I go to the doctor when I need to, blah, 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 and that everything's taken care of is the way that it comes across for as far as pain. I've never heard her refer to herself being in any type of physical pain, but the majority of people are usually like, oh, I got a busted ankle, or I've sprained my ankle, or broke this, or whatever, and I didn't go to the doctor, and so, whatever. But anyways, that is 17 minutes right there, just me talking about my own shit. I'm going to cut it off. And now I'm going to talk about kind of things that, are dealing with a little bit of my thought process, but kind of, other things. One of the things that I said in the other video is about how a dog will chase its own tail, if it's taught to, or a cat will, and how it causes its own harm, and that we as society are doing that, and that we should not do that, and we should not allow society to teach us to distract ourselves in ways that are self-harm. And one of those ways of self-harm is anxiety and depression. You are depressed because you are taught to tear yourself apart, so that way you're distracted from society being, it's fucked up self that it is, because there's a lot of fucked up shit in the world. And so it's like, oh, keep living in the illusion and keep chasing your tail, and don't make yourself happy, and don't put yourself out there, and don't do this, and don't do that. And what was the example that I used? I was talking about a cat, and I was like, we're all being taught to be cats and chase our own tails, So that way we're distracting ourselves. So that way we're never moving forward. I mean, can you imagine, like, say you got a bunch of cats in one room and they're all chasing their own damn tail. And then you, say, you come in the room, and say you're the only human, you're the only human being, and there's cats that are in this room, if you will, and so the only human being, if you will, is God, and the room is the world, and you got all these cats, and dogs, because I've referred to, but you got all these animals, we'll just say that, chasing their own damn tails. And then when you go and try to help them, if you're God, and you go and try to help them, and you're like, hey, you're going to have to stop chasing your own tail. That's the reason your tail hurts. That's the reason you're in pain. In that, all these animals, or the majority of them, turn on the person, or God, if you will, and they're like, no, it's your fault. It's your fault. You created me. You made me, so it's all your fault. And it's just a whole bunch of huge, I don't even know, just bullshit. But, anyways, we need to learn to, try to be happy with what we do have. Try to make the best of things. And try to not hate each other, and try to come towards each other with compassion, kindness, and love. And I know it's hard, and especially with the way society is now. And that's another thing too, is I was talking about memes. My friend Jen, she wrote my name up under, like, she tagged me in this one, and it was about anxiety. And it showed a person, like, handing, logic to a person that's dealing with anxiety or something like that. And this person takes the logic and just throws it out the window. It's just like, nope. And, I mean, in all honesty, that's the way anything is. If a person is not ready to accept the things that they're not ready for, then that's it. You can't do anything past that. Everybody is on their own path, and everybody can categorize themselves as much as they want to, just like I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm an INFP for as far as my characteristics and personality, and you can do that, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself if you're going to allow that to define, and be a category that you want to place yourself in, and what categories do you want to be in. And most people inherently, like I said, most people are good, so most people want the category of everlasting life, or a good afterlife, or even if they do not believe in an afterlife, then, peace and a good life here on earth. And then everybody really does want, good life here on earth and peace and stuff, but most people are not willing to work for it. And it's really, I don't even know. It's just really hard. It's really hard to accept and, like, take into account and all kinds of things and stuff like that. But, another example that I used in relation to animals is my dog Clarabelle. She's still a puppy in my mind, but and my daughter's the one that picked her to keep out of the litter. But anyways, I got to thinking about happiness and how we find happiness and stuff like that. And we had a yard where we used to live with my grandmother, and so we would go out in the yard and we'd play with the dogs and we'd play fetch with them. And Clarabelle loved to play fetch so much that she wanted to play it every single day. Well, she couldn't play it every single day because every single day I was too tired, or Ava, which is my daughter, was too tired and didn't feel like it, even though I would kind of get on to Ava and be like, I play with you every day, so go play with her, and stuff. But, so that was a form of play. She really enjoyed that. She really enjoyed playing fetch, and she just adored it. Well, there were days that she wanted to, but we didn't want to. Nobody wanted to play with her, so she learned to play with herself. She learned to make herself happy. And what it was is we had a ball that had a sock around it, tied around it, and she would take and she would grab the sock and she would fling it all the way, up in the air, and then she would catch the ball herself. And it was fucking adorable, and she made herself happy. And that is where we all kind of need to be. And I understand that bad things are going to happen, and that balance has to remain in the world and everything like that, and that you're going to have bad days, and you're going to have days where people humiliate or degrade or embarrass you, or they make you feel bad, or they try to cut you down, or they try to get at you and stuff. But you have to keep trying to make yourself, happy. But also, you have to figure out what your values and morals and things are. And so, another thing too is I said that I actually taught, now it wasn't Clarabelle, but I taught my other dog how to chase her tail. Well, then she got to the point where she got aggressive chasing her own tail, and I was like, okay, so I untaught her. Like, I took the time to, get on to her and be like, no, don't do that, and I shouldn't have taught you to do that, And that's like I'm talking about, a person walking into a room, a bunch of cats, dogs, whatever, chasing their own tails, hurting themselves. And that's what depression and anxiety is it's you hurting yourself. And then there's people that'll sit there and they'll be like, oh, you're hurting yourself with this and that and everything. Sorry, trying to keep the boobage out. But you'll hurt your own self and everything, through doing certain things. Well, that is innately like human nature, to a degree, because balance, and you've got to find that balance, and you've got to really strive for that, because if you don't, your life is going to kind of just, and fall apart and everything. So balance is really the biggest key that we can all have, But then comes the balance of, okay, just because even if you are balanced in your life in this world, don't become so caught up in I'm balanced that you're like, I'm going to go to heaven when I die. Because that right there is you stepping into God's shoes, which you should not do, And even though I've got on here and kind of said that, I kind of feel like, I can't guarantee, but I kind of feel like I'm going to go to heaven when I die. I can't guarantee it. But I've also said, if God wants to send me to hell, I trust God so much that if He wants to send me to hell whenever I do pass from this life, whenever my body, is like, and soul are detached, if you will, if He wants to send my soul to hell, then, oh well. I mean, I can't undo His power. I can't go against His power, and why would I try to if I know that I can't, and if I trust in Him that deeply? And if He wants to send me to hell, then He'll send me to hell, and if He doesn't, then He doesn't. He knows my heart, He knows my struggles, He knows my everything more than anybody else ever will. I can sit here and I can talk forever and tell all of y'all my life stories, and you're still not going to comprehend all of it. Not because of lack of education, not because it's nothing that you've ever lived through, not because of stuff like that, but because you're not God and you can't withhold that information because you have your own information that you withhold. You have your own life journey, path, discoveries, or however you want to word it. But anyways, I don't know how intelligent this will sound to anybody or whatever, but this is something that I just wrote today, just kind of like in my thought process and everything. And plus, like, I didn't even finish it because that's the way I am, like with ideas and stuff. Sometimes they just come really quick to me. And I was watching Patch Adams, the movie with Robin Williams in it, and I love that movie, and I love Robin Williams, like, as an actor, like, amazing actor, and I hate that he's gone. But anyways, the biggest illusion is everything is for everybody, and yet it is also the biggest truth. Just because it's harder or easier, takes you longer or shorter to accomplish, does not mean it is not for you. Everything is for everyone. That's why God created the world and its ways. But sometimes people reach things with cheating tactics, dishonesty, and cruelties. Other times people reach things with know-how, honesty, and kindness. The things you gain from kindness, you may one day lose, but you will be at peace with your spirit over all the trials it may create. Things you lose from cruel tactics, will bring you humility and humble you to try to choose to be better. Make what you want of that. Take it how you want to take it. Pick it apart if you want to. Think I'm a bad person if you must. Think I'm a good person and still pick it apart. You do you. And that's all I can say to anybody to a degree. And that's another thing, too, that I was sitting here watching Patch Adams, and I was like, okay, because everything is made for everyone. But you have to decide what is made of God and what is made of Satan to a degree. But then again, even in deciding that, the lines get blurred. Because, just because, for instance, some people may say that my daughter and my sister was, and this is a little personal, but, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, sadly, but my mother was pregnant with my sister before my parents got married. And my daughter was born, and it was just me and my boyfriend, wasn't my husband. And so, therefore, are they soulless? Are they? And my nieces, even, and quite a few other children today. Are they soulless? Because, what is it? It says somewhere in the Bible that, like, they're lost souls or they're soulless or something along that lines if the parents, if it's not, if you're not married. And so if that's the case and you know that that's the answer, then what should you do to those people? Me, I was born and conceived while my parents were married. Does that make me better than my sister? Does that mean that I do have a soul where my sister doesn't? Like, people can pick apart anything that they want to. And it's really hard and harsh and so on and so forth. And that's just like I said, that I know that people aren't born perfect. And that's like in regards to the fact that I actually know someone, I'm actually related to someone, even though it's kind of far back in the line or whatever, that they weren't born correctly. They weren't born a female or male for as far as the doctors could tell at that time and day. It was all just kind of like, there's nothing, And there's a lot of people that have been born like that. And should those people be killed? Should those people not deserve to know any type of love? Or should they, they can know love, but they can't never experience having a spouse or sexual relations? And isn't one of the biggest rules is to not judge others? And so if I've seen that and I was raised that way, and I've took that into account, and so that's made me grow up to where I identify kind of now as pansexual, but not just because of that, but also because I connect with people spiritually, if you will, or on a soul level deeper than some people do with the people that they see themselves wanting to be partners with. Who are you to judge that? And even though there is nothing wrong with this female that I'm interested in, and there's nothing wrong with me, and we are females for as far as birth certificates state, and there was no confusion, even though there was confusion before I was born because the nurse did the ultrasound wrong. and everything. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, I know that the ultrasound's wrong. I know what I am. I know what I was born, but I wonder how quickly God can change something. Who knows? But anyways, my mind really does wonder that a lot. And sometimes I kind of think that I, on my way to Earth, being born a soul, kind of wanted to be a man whenever I first left or descended from God, from my creator or whatever, as a soul or a being. And I was like, yeah, let me be a guy again, and I feel like it was an again type thing. And then, like, as soon as I started, like, took the first step, if you will, to come back into this world or this creation, if you will, it is like, I was like, no, wait, I changed my mind. Let me be a girl. Let me be a girl. Please let me be a girl. I think it'd be easier to be a girl. I'm tired of being a man and working my ass off. Like, that's literally a thought that I've had. And then I've had to think, okay, is that a dream or is that a memory? So, I don't know. And people can, what's the word I'm looking for? Not attack, but I mean, to a degree, it is an attack. They can persecute me however they want. But anyways, so, yeah. But anyways, also watching the movie Patch Adams, if you ever watched the movie, he falls in love with this girl, and he keeps kind of bugging her until she finally gives in, if you will, or, allows him into her life, if you will. And then, because of what lesson she learned from allowing that, but also her past, but because of what lessons she's learned from, putting kindness ahead of what she normally does and not valuing her own self enough to listen to the things that she's came to know or whatever, she ends up being with him. And then one night she gets a phone call from a patient that is like paranoid schizophrenic or something like that. And she's all alone, and she's like, well, I'll go check on him. Like, she tries to be the kind-hearted of what she's learned from Patch's character. And she goes, and she ends up getting killed because that patient pulls a gun on her and kills her or chokes her. I don't remember. But anyways, he ends up killing her. It's really sad. But, anyways. So, me with this girl, I'm kind of like, well, if she's learned, whatever she may have learned, but if she hasn't learned, or if I'm not going against her, or whatever, then, I do want to try to make things work with her because in my previous, or not my previous video, but one of my previous videos, one of my subscribers put a comment and was like, I wish you the best, and I hope y'all end up together. And I was like, me too, I'm like, yeah, me too, and everything. But, the biggest gist of everything, if you will, is that we all have our own paths. We all have our own journeys. We all have everything that we are supposed to do and we're supposed to experience. And like I said in my little statement or whatever, is everything is for everyone. But then you've got to find the balance in knowing that. Just because everything is for everyone, does that mean that everyone should dip their foot in it, should try it, should experience it? Some people say yes, some people say no. Some people definitely say yes, and some people definitely say no. And some people say, oh, so that means that you want to be very sinful and you want to do these things that are very, very, very sinful and very bad and very wrong. And that is just like another comment that I also received that stated in this person's opinion or in their scientific findings, if you will. And so they want to be scientific in that way and everything. Sorry, I'm thinking about how I could be really like them, but I really don't want to. And that's one thing about me. And by like them, I don't mean in a, oh, I'm going to be exactly like them way, but I mean like to kind of do the harsh love type thing, you know. I don't know about that right now. But because that's what they're trying to do to me is the harsh love type thing in their comments that they've left for me. And it's like, I'm not going to respond to that very well. I've had enough harsh love in my life, and I really don't need any more at this moment in time. And even though people still keep dropping it off by the bucket loads, it's just kind of a collection of dust for me. It's like, well, you know, like, but so anyways, and maybe that maybe I'm flawed in doing that. Maybe I should start being harsh and mean and hateful in that way. And even though it's not harsh and mean and hateful in that way, you know, it's like standing up for myself. But anyways, I kind of got sidetracked. I'm having like a blonde moment right now because of it. And I think I'm getting sleepy because it's too warm in here. But I don't want to cut the heater off. And the dogs are snoring too, so it's kind of making me sleepy. But it's like right now I'm really even wondering if I should put this video up or if I should erase this video up and put up the previous one. And I'm in a constant state of guessing, you know, and trying to figure out what is right and everything because my mind is so plagued with things and thoughts and processes, you know, and it's just the way my mind is, you know. And even though somebody might be like, oh, you know, because of this, and so take some medicine and, you know, and everything, but I like me. And some people might say, well, you need to like you enough to take medicine for, you know, you're this and you're that and everything. But you don't understand how much I like me based upon I respect what is given to me in the ways of I respect everything that has ever been given to me. That's the reason I'm able to forgive my dad and my mom. Even though they don't believe it because they think that respect means kiss your ass. Oh, you respect me. Well, you don't do this for me. You don't do that for me. You don't, you know. And that's fine. They can think that. Oh, sometimes I really think I'm not of this world to a degree. I don't know, but I know that I am. I know that I'm here. I know that I've chosen or been chosen or however you want to word it to be here and stuff, but it's just like, I am unique. And we all are. And I is in unique. And to accept your uniqueness. Is it unquestionable? I don't know. I'm just a different type of person. Most can't get along with me. And it's sad. And it hurts. And it's lonely. And even though it's like, well, just stop being you so that way you're not lonely. Ask a tree to stop being a tree. See if it stops being a tree. Ask a dog to stop being a dog. See if it stops being a dog. Ask a kid to stop being a kid. See if it stops being a kid. Are we not all children of God? Ask the children of God to grow up. Are they going to grow up? I don't know. I just got a lot of thoughts. And people sometimes hate me for it. Oh, that's one thing. I might put up the other video because I cried in it. And I was like talking about my dad and like how one thing that I do appreciate about him is like him having to overcome the struggles that he did overcome. You know, he's overcame stuff. He had to push himself. But the thing is because I have not had to push myself in the ways that he has, he thinks that therefore that means I don't struggle. And that's everybody's perception, you know. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Perception is 10 ninths of the law. 9/10, 10 ninths. But anyways, oh my god, I'm so blonde sometimes. It's okay. But another scene, if you've ever watched the movie Patch Adams, that's really good because I thought about and I might still do it. I thought about trying to find it and put it up on my Facebook. Is the part where Patch finds out that he's like he's going against the grain, and somebody gets onto him for it, and so he lets it slide. He's like, "F," keeps going against the grain, and to go against the grain means to go against, you know, the norm or whatever, the normal. So he keeps doing it, and he does it again, and when he does it the second time, if you will, which it, you know, and time and movies, and so it may not be the second time, but when he does it and keeps doing it, he finds out that, oh, you know, okay, I got on to you, like say it's one person, I got on to you for you not being normal. And so, you know what? Now I'm going to get another person to see if they think that you're not normal, because I'm going to go and build a group to attack you, if you will. And see, that's kind of even the issue with me and like where I'm living and maintenance people and stuff like that, is it's like, oh, you know, we're going to attack you, you know, and attack the way you do things, the way you say things, the way you're tacky, you know, and the way that you raise your kid. And then whenever I attacked back, even though it didn't backfire on me, it just kind of sat there after I attacked, if you will. But I found one person, my neighbor, to pull in to be like, oh, they said, you know, and everything, the same thing. And then it was like the attack was too much for, you know, them. And so then they just afterwards, and I was just like, and like I said, it's like a bucket of dust, you know, or whatever. It's like just, oh, same shit I've dealt with since I was like 2. There you go. You know, like, and to each their own and stuff like that. But in the movie, back to the movie, so Patch is going against the grain, or his character, you know, the character of Patch is going against the grain, and he gets told to stop, so he doesn't. And so then, you know, he goes against the grain again, and the person that told him to stop comes up to him and is like, listen, if you don't stop, he threatens him. Listen, if you don't stop, I'm going to get A and B after you, if you will, which is another person, if you will. So Patch, instead of being like me, usually I'm like, okay, well, let's see who your A and B is. You know, whenever you decide to show them, I'll let you pull your guns whenever you decide to pull them on me. And even if I fail and I'm stupid and whatever, then hey, that's where I'm at, Well, Patch, his character in the movie, instead is like, oh, I know who it is. Which usually you do. Usually you know the people that are behind your back, the people that are shit talking you. And it's not necessarily that you're a coward and you don't want to confront them as much as it may be, if you're like me, and if you're like the character of Patch. Well, Patch does confront them. So, yeah, if you're like me, fuck, But if you're like me, you're just like, I'll let God take care of it. But instead, Patch's character goes and confronts. And he's like, hey, I heard that you did this and you said that, and you're the one saying this, nah. And what it is it's his roommate. And his roommate studies, but Patch doesn't study in the same way. And so they get into an argument, and this roommate tells Patch that he's acting like a kid. And Patch tells the roommate that he's acting like a prick. And so the guy's like, well, at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, if you will, at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, you ask people who they'd rather have on their side. A kid, somebody that wants to kiss their ass, and be kind to them, or someone who's a prick, but they know what they're doing. And whenever Patch goes to leave the room after the argument, he's like, I forget how young you are. And he's like, and I mean, I'm young, but I'm mature in this way, And so anyways, Patch is like, I forget how young you are. And he's like, for you to think that acting like a prick is actually a new thought on how to get things done. Or he words it like in that way. And it's like a great scene in the movie. It's just like, oh, it's like so smart, But, anyways. So if you've never watched that movie, you need to watch it. Like, it's just a really good movie. I would also recommend What Dreams May Come. And, heck, any movie with Robin Williams in it is just amazing, in all honesty. Like, I've never seen a bad movie with him in it, or Brad Pitt, or Johnny Depp, or I can't even think. But that's like my top 3 to a degree. Will Smith, there you go. Never seen a bad movie with any of them in it. Like, and maybe it's just that I like their character. I don't know. Or characters, since they're playing different characters. But something about them speaks to me, or whatever, on a deeper level. And Jim Carrey, I have to say, I don't think I've seen I haven't seen any of all of their movies. But from what I have seen, I've seen more of them and then less of Jim Carrey to a degree. But Jim Carrey's movies are really good. But yeah. And just because I'm saying that about them, don't go, oh, okay, and like pick me apart because of that. Like, people will pick you apart at any turn, any corner that they can find, if that's what they want to do. If that's what they want to do, then do that. But like I've said in my previous videos, if you want to do that to me, you can do that to me from over in your little corner, because I am living a life of purpose, is the best way that I can think of to word it. And while you may be living a life of purpose, and our life purposes, if you will, sound like porpoises, but anyways, our life reasonings may be different. And I can respect that. I just hope you can too. But I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to go ahead and post this one. I don't even know what I'm going to label it, which I say in most every video that I shoot and make or whatever. But I'm going to end it here. I might upload, or I've done uploaded the other one, but I set it to private. I might set it to public too as well, and you can go back and watch it if you want to or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, and if I don't, I don't. If I do, I do. Very indecisive in things, kind of. Still testing the waters, and stuff. But, yeah, I'm going to end this video. 54 minutes. So, I hope you have a good night. I hope you have a good morning. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good life. I hope you look at the brighter side of things. I hope that you stay positive. I hope that you know that you're worth it. I hope you know to put your best foot forward. I hope you know not to push yourself too hard. I hope you know how to appreciate yourself. I hope you learn to appreciate yourself. I hope you know you're beautiful. I hope you know that you are a creation of God. I hope you know how valuable you are. I hope you stay intact to your true intuitive feelings. I hope you find what you value and you keep those values. I hope you protect what you love. I hope you stand for what you believe in. And I wish you the best. And I hope you have a great holiday season because it's December, so Christmas and Jesus and Hanukkah and all that. And yeah. And so I'm going to end it here and I will catch you later.